beautiful soul. I am Danielle, and today I want to talk about Kundalini awakenings, and I'm going to give you a simple technique to begin to activate in a safe and gentle way your own Kundalini awakening. And I'm about to get really real with all of you. There's a lot about this topic if you begin to search it on the internet. Maybe you have already. There's a lot out there, and there's a lot of different descriptions as far as the religious traditions go, and so I would just begin to research for yourself if you haven't already on this topic, and just see what resonates for you, and just trust in what resonates, and that's probably the best way for you to begin to understand that which is Kundalini. And it's a very powerful force. How I understand it best is that it's this dormant potential within all human beings. I like to think of it as the goddess Shakti energy that's resting at the base of our spine, our first chakra, our root chakra, and it's what allows for us to experience enlightenment, and it's what's able to trigger our potential and for us to re-emerge as the divine beings that we are, and to feel this powerful cosmic connection with all of life. It is such a beautiful energy, and it is meant to be respected. And the more that we're balanced within, and this is why Reiki is so beautiful to me, and as well as other forms of energy healing, it really helps us continue to clear and purify our systems so Kundalini can flow more gently and more powerfully, but in a safe way. And I want to be really honest with all of you, because I experienced a Kundalini awakening last year around this time, and it was very intense. And I was practicing meditation, yoga, and Reiki regularly, and I was repeating a lot of powerful mantras as well, and listening to music that was very spiritually meaningful to me. So there's a combination of different things that was going on last year that I think played a part, of course. And my Kundalini awakened spontaneously. I wasn't really preparing for it, really consciously focusing on it. And there was a lot of fear that arose through my awakening for several months. Even after my awakening originally happened, it was quite magical. So there's a lot of trust there. There was a lot of love, and a lot of beautiful things started to awaken in my life, and a lot of psychic and intuitive abilities, and it was quite exciting. But on the other hand, there was also a lot of darkness and fear and paranoia, especially for me. And what I'm learning is that because when there's a transformation or a death of the old self, if we're resistant to it in any way, even if it's unconscious, and this is why I really want to talk about this, because it's not something that anyone is doing wrong, or there's something wrong with you, or you're not experiencing a mental health issue, because a lot of this is very unconscious. But if we're holding on to any of the old self, or if we're denying this death or transformation cycle in any way, what we're seeking to avoid is actually coming up even more, and it's actually being mirrored and magnified even more, if that makes sense. So if you're trying to avoid any of these changes that Kundalini is trying to purify and transform, then it will appear as a paranoid state or a fear-based state. Things might be going on in your life that really trigger this sense of anxiety or paranoia, and that's why Kundalini can often get this negative perception from people, or people begin to think that there's this mental health crisis going on when an awakening occurs. But that's just not the case. It's just part of the purifying power of this beautiful, beautiful energy. And so I could talk about this forever. I want to keep it pretty simple for today's video and just be honest with you all about my experience. But yes, there's a lot of magic and light and love being experienced, but I was also experiencing a lot of fear, and I was releasing a lot of fear, I should say, but it was coming up in ways that I think from an outside perspective people would probably judge as a mental health diagnosis. And because in our society, spirituality and this awakening process, or this journey, this dark night of the soul, if you will, is often categorized as a diagnosis or an issue or something to be treated, because we're living in a society that's viewing it in that way, it's really hard to be open and honest about our spiritual awakenings, and we like to just talk about the things that are comfortable and exciting and magical. And of course, that's how it was for me. I was just excited that I was able to hear my guides and to begin to channel poetry through hearing my guides come through. Like, this channeled writing was so magical to me, and again, getting to learn about my different guides was really powerful, and increasing these sensitivities for the first time, it really was this exciting time for me, and I didn't want to admit some of the stuff that was going on alongside of that. There was a lot that was happening at once, and this is why I really want to talk about the awakening experience as far as doing it in a very gentle, conscious, and balanced way. And I really want to assist with anyone that wants to learn how to awaken their Kundalini energy in this really this very conscious and loving way. And not that I wasn't doing that, because again, I was practicing these things, but it just happened spontaneously. And the more the energy is rising on the planet, the more these awakenings are happening more often, and I just want to be really authentic and express my truth, and just be a source of light and support for those who are going through their own awakenings for the first time, and just to know that you don't have to go through it quite as intensely as I did. So if I can be of any support, please let me know. So all that being said, again, I would just research anything about Kundalini awakening before or after watching this video, and then begin to practice some of these techniques that I'm going to explain. If you already know about it and you feel comfortable practicing, just know that you are safe and that there's nothing to fear. In the society, we often fear things we don't understand, or if there's something that that feels like it's not so lovable or light, we don't like to think about death or transformation too much. So I just want to, and that's why I want to put this out there even more, because it's not something we often hear. And anyway, I feel like I'm repeating myself a lot. So I'll just get to the technique to help activate your Kundalini energy. And so the most basic way to do this is to get into a meditative state, a very calm, balanced state. Of course, take some nice deep breaths before we begin. In the nose and out the mouth. And if you can hear the wind, it's very windy and rainy today. So once you get more settled, you can be laying down for this, or seated comfortably, whatever is best for you to focus on this. And a really simple technique is just to begin to draw a spiral within the palm of your right or left hand. Because I'm right-handed, I'm drawing it in my left palm. Just very slowly begin to trace the spiraling energy within your palm. Do it very slowly, very gently. So just tracing, just like so. You might begin to feel, if you're sensitive enough, different chakras starting to light up, or you might feel like a certain energy in one of your chakras. It's actually best if you focus on the chakras that you're not noticing so much, because that's where you need more of the energy to flow. So say you're feeling a lot of energy within your heart chakra, that chakra is really lit up with Kundalini energy, and so maybe you're not noticing so much in the root or the sacral chakra, then that would be one that you would want to focus on. So that can be one simple technique if you're really in tune with the energy. If you're not feeling anything, just through tracing the spiral symbol in your palm, begin to visualize the spiraling symbol at the bottoms of your feet. Just imagine drawing it at the bottom of your feet, and drawing up this life force energy from the earth up through your limbs and into the root. And this is what you'll do for each of the chakras. And so it's a very gentle and slow process, and I'm not going to guide everything today. I might later create a guided meditation where we go through each chakra, but I wanted to be very clear about taking this very slowly, and we're all at different stages. And so maybe for you today, you're just going to begin to trace the spiral in your palm, or maybe you're going to trace in your feet and just begin to send the energy to your root chakra. And that's where it starts. That's where the energy is coiled at the base of the spine. And so you're just imagining the energy from the earth rising. And then you'll imagine a ball of red energy, and this would be the Kundalini energy, rising through the bottom of the feet up into your root chakra. And then you would continue with each of the chakras just like that, and the colors would change based on the chakra that you're focused on. But again, it's really an intuitive process that you have to trust within yourself, taking it very slow, breathing, making sure you're balanced, not rushing through. And you can do this for a few minutes each day. That's what I would recommend. Just a few minutes is all you need. It's a very powerful energy. And just know that you're purifying those areas when you're focusing on the energy rising to each chakra. It's really purifying and rising and helping to heal anything that's associated with that center, that chakra. So you might want to take a few days on a certain chakra that you feel is in need and continue to work your way out. That's what I would recommend if this is very new to you. And just to go over the different colors once again. The root chakra is red, and it's at the base of the spine. And then you have the sacral chakra, and it's just below the belly button, about 2 inches, and it's orange. Then you have the solar plexus, it's just above the belly button, it's your gut, and this is yellow. So you'd focus the energy in like a ball of yellow energy. And then above that is the heart chakra, and that's green. The throat is blue. The third eye is indigo, and the crown chakra is purple. So again, do this at your own pace, just visualizing the symbol of the spiral, and that's connected to the Kundalini serpent energy that I talked about. So it's very powerful and will activate the energy. And then just take your time, learn as much as you want about Kundalini, and notice what resonates for you. And just know, because it is a purifying energy, that you're going to be magnifying both the positive and the negative in your life. And when you see something come up, it's nothing to be afraid of. And there's nothing wrong with you or anything that you experience. But you are transforming, and it is the most beautiful experience you will ever have. And if you have any questions, please comment below or get a hold of me, and I would love to join you on your journey too. I love you all